There is more magic in our own world than in any world of fiction.
Trump reasserted in the new year that the United States wants Greenland.
We need Greenland. We need Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation.
Trump said a newly appointed special envoy would lead the charge, drawing sharp criticism from Denmark and Greenland. Let's take a look at why Trump is interested in the vast Arctic territory. Greenland is strategically significant for the US military. The shortest route from Europe to North America runs through it. The shortest route from Europe to North America runs through it. The US has said it wants to expand its existing military presence on the island. That includes placing radars to watch waters in the region used by Russian Navy vessels and nuclear submarines.
Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place.
Shipping data show most Chinese and Russian activity in the Arctic is in waters near Russia. But more broadly, the Arctic is becoming more militarized, with NATO states, China and Russia all expanding activity there. The island is also rich in minerals, oil and natural gas, though development has been slow and mining has seen very limited US investment.
On the southwest coast of Greenland, some of the world's richest men are funding a massive treasure hunt involving a chopper and a transmitter in hopes of discovering a trove of critical materials capable of powering the green energy transition. A band of billionaires from Jeff Bezos to Michael Bloomberg and Bill Gates.
I want to quickly segue into this. You know, Bill Gates, that adds to 11 in Gematria. 254 equals 11. You know, I just showed my plan to 1,200 people. 900 people said no. 300 people showed me some interest. Only 85 actually did something. 35 of those were serious. And 11 made me a billionaire. But hey, you know everything's about spells and stuff hidden. Let's add individually those numbers. 1, add 2, add 9, add 3, add 8, add 5, add 3, add 5, add 1, add 1 equals 38. 3 add 8 equals, you got it, an 11. These spells, he's even named after Janus, the god of doorways. Hey, you know, Bill Gates, through the investment fund that we're talking about, is backing a mining venture in Greenland that received £11 million in funding to search for critical minerals. But there's nothing to this 11, I keep telling you.
Is all betting that below the surface of the hills and valleys on Greenland's Disco Island and Nuussuaq Peninsula, there's enough nickel, cobalt, and copper to power hundreds of millions of electric vehicles.
So we're looking for a deposit that will be the first or second, largest, most significant nickel cobalt deposit in the world.
So when we look at these things, we are looking through our own eyes, our own experiences that help to shape what we see and what we produce in videos. You do the same, but you will have a different take on what you're seeing today. These are the things that catch my eye, and one of the things that caught my eye was them just referring to the CEO of Cobalt Metals, and his name was Kurt House. So I thought, let me just take a look at Cobalt Metals, see if I can find anything that just intrigues me. Hopefully it will intrigue you. So just look at his name, Kurt. You can just look, it means short for Conrad, bold, counsel, brave advisor, also bold and rat. In Turkish it means wolf, a powerful symbol, as you can see. It also refers to maggots and worms. So you can see his name means wolf. That's what I take from that. Or a worm or maggot, but wolf takes me because it connects with a few other things that I'm going to talk about. So I thought, his name's Kurt House, and we just found the wolf. And let me just find the etymology of cobalt. And you can see on screen, in Germanic mythology, a spirit who haunts houses or lives underground in caves or mines. Now, you know I'm on a cave kick at the minute, showing that we live in a cave within a cave within a cave. Some people want to call it Hollow Earth. That's just how I see it. But his company is named after a spirit who haunts houses, and the guy is called Kurt House. This seems well nefarious to me. So let's carry on and let me split it down and see if I can find anything. So you've seen something intriguing just from the generic typing in. I've looked, and the etymology of Kolb varies. It can mean a short form of Hebrew Jacob, a German surname for a mace or a cudgel, or a house name, a word for an African antelope, or related to Slavic Kolb, fate, or a omen. That blew my mind. So we were talking about fates and omens now. Now it's getting intriguing. And as you can see, cobalt, old means old, age, ancient, antique, primeval. So we have cobalt, meaning a house, basically a house haunted by a spirit or lives underground in caves. We now also have, as you can see, what blew my mind was fate or omens from old, the ancient or primeval fate or omens. And we're talking about this on the island. So obviously you have cobalt metals. Met has several etymologies, as you can see on the screen. It means past tense of meat, mead, meat, food, metropolitan, short for that. And if you carry on in Hebrew, met means dead, or influence terms like checkmate, dead king. So that blew me away. So you're talking now, oh my God, so the fate of omens of old. Is it talking and dead? The dead fate omens of old. It is mind-blowing. Is it looking for something deep and buried? I mean, you've only got to look at recent films like Troll, where these trolls were thought to be dead and came alive that thought they were buried. So this is what is intriguing me, what they're looking for on Greenland. And just looking from cobalt, what that means, and metals, that is blew me away. So what other myths and folklore are on the island of Greenland? And here are some I'm going to show you today. So Inupiaqsukaq, northern giants, huge, rare and mysterious creatures, with males being larger and almost never survive to tell the tales about. Basically, you don't survive if you face them. Sedna, a sea giantess, a creator goddess and ruler of the underworld, depicted as a giant whose fingers become seals, whales and walruses. She is a powerful figure who controls marine animals. And you also have Trollbotn on land, basically land of the giants, a mythical land northeast of Greenland said to be filled with gold, inhabited by dangerous natives, giants or similar beings who kill intruders. Underneath you have Erliniak, moon dweller. While not always a giant, this creature from west of the moon plays on themes of monstrous transformations and linked to dangerous wilderness encounters, sometimes described with large features. So other things. Quivitog, these are vengeful mountain ghosts of wandering spirits of people who abandoned their community due to the shame or mistreatment and died alone in the wilderness. They lose human qualities and gain supernatural powers, sometimes developing animal-like traits that are known to feed on humans. Basically sounds like a Wendigo. A Qualapapalak, a twisted mermaid-like sea creature with long webbed fingers that live in the cold Arctic waters. It is said to snatch children who wander too close to the shore. And here we go. Remember what his name was? Kurt House, tied to the wolf. Amarak. This is a solitary giant wolf spirit that roams the frozen landscape. It is believed to devour humans who disturb the natural balance of the wilderness or act recklessly. Chupilaklak, while often represented by small carved figures used for casting spells, the Chupilak is an evil spirit created to harm an enemy. The danger is that the spirit can turn against the creator. So other things around this region that caught me out was Grockland. And it's just just northeast or something, just north of Greenland. Now is that land of the giants? Because this Grockland is known to have giants or pygmies. So giants of Grockland likely refers to figures in medieval European mythology and geography, where Grockland was believed to be the land of the Norse or the giants or pygmies or Greenlanders in the far North Atlantic, others identified with modern day Greenland. In these medieval accounts, Groenland was an island or a series of islands near the North Pole that early geographers and chronicles such as William Lambard and Hakluyt believed was Greenland. The inhabitants were often referred to as giants in certain legends, or alternatively as pygmies or skraelings, the Norse term for indigenous people of the New World, like the Eskimos and Inuit and Dorset people. There's also Arthurian legend. In some versions of the King Arthur legends, Arthur is said to have conquered the giant land, Groenland, adding to his expansive, albeit mythical empire. These were sometimes used later by figures like John Dee to assert historical English claims to the northern lands. Now, what intrigued me about Groenland, is that what is in the news at the present about Twitter and X is its Grok application. It's AI. So you can just see how that intrigued me. So that was just a quick section, just looking at the kobolds who's actually influenced and talking about omens, fate, the dead, giants. I just thought that was intriguing.
The Billionaire Club is financially backing California startup Cobalt Metals, a mineral exploration company partnered with UK-based Blue Jay Mining to find metals that power renewables and EVs.
Where we are able to transport ores, metals from Greenland to the global market.
So we just broken down Cobalt Metals and all the intriguing and fascinating links to the occult, to magic, to folklore, and the fairies and the goblins and omens from old and destiny. Wow. So it's only fair that I did the same to basically Blue Jay Mining, who is the other half of the face. And the CEO, as you can see on the screen, is Bo Muller. Basically, Bo means to live, to wave, to grow, to reside, not too standoutish. Muller comes from Miller, you know, in regards to flour and wheat. So nothing great there. But basically, Blue Jay Mining have rebranded and changed the name. They've gone from Blue Jay Mining to 80 Mile PLC. So you can see some of that undercover 666 stuff going on in the symbolism in the logo. 18 Gematria adds to an 11. So there's some significant things there. But if you delve a little bit deeper, and one of the things that caught my eye was it was a Hebrew letter Fe that is associated with the number 80. And this means to pray or speech. It's associated with the mouth. And you know, I've done a lot of videos on the vocal cords because I've showed you that it is the secret 3, 6, 9 that people talk about. If you only knew the power of the 3, 6, 9, it's the vocal cords, it's the power of the voice. The symbolic meaning of it is to pray, a prayer. So it's like they're doing offerings, they're asking for help and things like this. They're doing a big time ritual on this island. And even prayer in Gematria adds to an 11. So I wanted to have a quick look. Is there anything in the number 80? I don't want to go to town on it because I just want to do a little section. And the number 80 in Freemasonry refers to the 80th degree of a certain extended or appendant rite, specifically known as a subline elected of the sanctuary. So I'll ignore the little bit underneath. And the 80th degree, subline elected of the sanctuary, is found within the high degrees of the ancient and primitive rites of Memphis. These degrees are a continuation of the philosophical and historical studies beyond the core 3 degrees of craft masonry, entered apprentice, fellow craft and master mason, which are universally considered the highest and most important degrees in regular Freemasonry. The high degrees, like the 80th, delve into the myths of the ancient East and are a part of the extensive degree systems that developed in the 18th century. So I carried on digging a little bit onto this, and I was blown away. The title, Subline Elected of the Sanctuary, as I've just told you about, refers to a high degree in certain forms of Freemasonry, specifically related to the 11th degree of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite, sometimes called the Subline Knight Elected or Subline Master Elected. So you can see the connections and the connections to 11 on Greenland. So you can start to see now why Greenland. I'm painting a picture in a short video showing you why Greenland and all the connections with the mining companies. They're looking for hidden treasure. Is the hidden treasure gold? Is it the minerals for these electric batteries, or is it something deeper? Is it giants? Is it the entrance to this hidden world that I've talked about? Who knows? I'll leave that up to you. Let's carry on. So it got me thinking, you got these companies mining on Greenland and Disco Island. It's like, what happened to the conservation? Because these sites are protected. Now, on Greenland and around the world, some of the places are called Ramsar. Now, you can see on the screen, the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands is an international treaty for the conservation and the wise use of wetlands adopted in Ramsar, Iran, 1971. It works through 3 pillars. Designated wetlands of international importance, Ramsar sites, promoting the wise use of all wetlands and fostering international cooperation aiming to maintain biodiversity and support sustainable development by protecting these vital ecosystems like marshes, lakes, deltas and mangroves. You know, and they want to use it all for electric cars. So, have a guess how many Ramsar sites Greenland has, protected sites. Oh yes, 11. It's just a coincidence, this, guys. It's just a fluke. Don't worry about it. And the name Ramsar comes from the Persian word meaning ram, as you can see, or place. It's a place of rams. And that got me thinking, it's funny that because a certain god Janus is associated with the horn, and his month January is Capricorn, and swear it looks a bit like a ram or a goat, whatever you want to call it, is horns. So you can just see how the irony of these 11s all being connected just have me giggling.
A camp of 30 geologists, geophysicists, cooks, pilots, and mechanics are on site, and CNN is the first media outlet to get video of the activity happening there. They're taking soil samples, flying helicopters with transmitters to measure the electromagnetic field of the subsurface and map the layers of rock below. Artificial intelligence is analyzing the data to pinpoint exactly where to drill next summer. While the vanishing ice opens opportunity for unearthing and transporting these metals, it's also fueling sea level rise and extreme weather, a concern for scientists in eastern Greenland working below the surface of the ice sheet in ice tunnels using heavy machinery to drill and retrieve ice samples. Analysis of the 60,000-year-old ice may yield clues about Greenland's past climate. Concern is also high in northwest Greenland, where CNN joined a team of NASA scientists measuring ice melt on the Arctic Ocean.
We're trying to understand how that melt is happening now, how that ice that used to survive several years in a row is now disappearing.
The disappearing ice highlights a unique dichotomy. Greenland is ground zero for the impact of climate change, but it could also become ground zero for sourcing the metals needed to power the solution to the crisis.
And the climate and tax bill that the Senate just passed, if it becomes law, will accelerate the shift to clean energy. And Greenland's significant mineral deposits have the promise of meeting some of the world's growing demand for these materials, allowing the U.S. to diversify its mineral sourcing. Pam?
Renee Marsh, thank you so much for that.
The US has said it wants to expand its existing military presence on the island.
So I wanted to look at the major army base that is on Greenland. And I just, honestly, you know when you just laugh, because have a look. The headquarters, 821st Space Base Group. Come on, 8 add 2 as 1 is, yeah, you got me, 11. Now, when you look at the tags that they use, the 821 Space Base Group, as you can see, and then on the right, you have basically Space Base Delta 1. Come on, you just have to look at these things to see the significance that they're showing in these. So, I wanted to have a look at the location, that's the major base. Now, it's actually called Pituffik Space Base, but it was originally called Thule Base, and now you have the Thule, obviously the Nazi association with the Thule Society. But here's a few things about it. Ancient mythology, Thule or Ultima Thule, meaning farthermost Thule or the edge of the world, was a Latin term used in classical antiquity to denote a distant, unknown and cold land, first referenced by a Greek explorer Pytheas in the 4th century BC. So this is obviously the Nazi Thule talking about obviously the Aryan race and that. Did it come from this ancient land? Now listen to this, the name of the area, Greenland's naming. In 1910, yes, you got it, another hidden 11. The Danish explorer Knud Rasmussen established a trading post in North Star Bay, Greenland, and named it Thule, drawing on the ancient concepts of a remote northern location. The local indigenous population, who are the ancestors of the modern Inuit, are known as the Thule people, named after the region. The area today is officially known as Quanaq, while the nearby military installation is the Pacific Space Base, formerly the Thule Air Base. And obviously the Nazi Association in the early 20th century, a German occultist and national group, formed the Thule Society. This society appropriated the ancient name Thule because they believed it was the lost ancient homeland of the Aryan race. This racist society was influenced in the early stages of the German Working Party, which Adolf Hitler later joined and transformed into the Nazi Party. So you can just see the significance with this area and the 11s. It was named in an 11. The space base, it always makes me laugh when I talk about space, is an 11. And it's on Greenland, which you will see soon why the significance of this is just mind-blowing. So here's a little clip now of this little base, this military installation that someone just filmed, and I want to share it with you today. So I wanted to look a little bit deeply into the Thule etymology. We saw it about the farthest most land, but I wanted to dig deep a little bit for the video. So the etymology of Thule comes from ancient Greek and Latin, referring to a mythical northern island, but its ultimate root is unknown, though possibly linked to Proto-Germanic roots for misty or smoky, meaning the misty one, suggesting a far northern foggy island. It entered Old English as file and became a metaphor for the farthest known land, often identified with places like Iceland and Norway. And then it just goes into the origin of the key points, basically from Greek geographers, and its unknown meaning smoke or mist, and how it was adopted basically as an Old English word for file, and Alfred the Great's translations. Now file or pile or tile is intriguing because the word tile comes from the Old English tigil, ultimately from Latin tigula, roof tile, meaning to cover. So we're on about this location and how it can cover something, and refers to a baked clay slab for roofs or floors, involving into names for tile makers like tiler or even tavern keepers, due to a Freemasonry office. So that's intrigued me. Again, that Freemasonry link. It can also be a surname describing someone living near a tiled field or a tilled field, or in Scots, a steep slope. And what got me is obviously that Freemasonry link, and I was talking about 80 as that firm, 80 Mile PLC. In occultism and numerology, the number 80 is associated with power, abundance, and the spiritual process of squaring the circle, which signifies the transition from the material world to the spiritual. So we're talking about this island and its transition from a material world to a spiritual. This blew me away. But also, strangely enough, when you're in communities and they talk about flat earth, they talk about 8 inches per square mile for the curvature. And here it's 80 and squaring the circle. I mean, obviously a square has flat sides, level sides. I wonder if this is where it interlocks and became that, because that's what I'm seeing anyway. See if you guys think the same. So I've used a few 11s in this because I see how important 11 is in this realm. I've done a series on it, the realm of 11. Honestly, from the fine constant structure, which is in 11, to so much more. And we have the 47th president, again, another 11, and all the links he has to the god of this realm, according to these guys. The god of God is Janus. And we have Bill Gates, which is named after Janus. So that is why I've used these two interlocking and found the things for this video. I've done so many things on Janus over the years. You know, I'm well known for it. I get well ignored for it as well. And this is section I wanted just to briefly show a video that I found of these two guys having a meeting and how cringy it was. Because obviously we're talking about Greenland and they have the fingers in that pie. And I came across a video showing them at a Forbes dinner and it was just a bit cringy. So take a look.
And so I deeply appreciate your leadership there as well.
Thank you. Really, and a really amazing job you've done. Bill, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Well, I'm in the second phase of my career, giving away all the wonderful money that Satya's good work has helped multiply a lot. But I think the thing that ties my first career that I still spend some time on because AI is so phenomenal, and my second career is innovation, innovating in health in areas like vaccines or gene editing, and the President and I are talking about taking American innovation to the next level to cure and even eradicate some of these diseases. He mentioned polio, which is one that we're close. We don't need new science on that one. For some like HIV and sickle cell, we do need new science, but the U.S. Has the seeds that in the same way that Warp Speed took those seeds and put them together, I think something fantastic can be done. AI for our foundation is that we want a doctor for everyone in Africa through AI. We want farmers to have incredible advice and kids to have a chance to learn. So the work being done by the people at this table is changing the world. It's coming fast, so it's great. We all get together and talk about how the U.S. can lead in this key area and apply it even to the poorest outside the U.S. as well as to our great citizens. So thank you for incredible leadership, including getting this group together.
Thank you, Bill. That's very nice.
So here's Greenland's flag. To me, it represents duality and 11 because obviously it's two halves. It's a doorway, it's a gateway. So the population, as you can see on the screen, is approximately 56,000 to 57,000. Again, the figure that they're giving is another hidden 11. 5 and 6 is an 11. That number is just popping up all over the place, and it's a sign of Janus, it's a sign of a doorway, gateway, and the spells that they have to use. But people will say it's a coincidence because they don't cover it. So the adoption of this flag was June the 21st, 1985. The designer was a person called Thu Christiansen. Thu is a derivative, I believe, etymologically of Thor. And the symbolism, what they are saying is the white stripe represents glaciers, the red stripe the ocean, and the disc the sun the red half, and icebergs the white half. And obviously they give some context. Chosen after Home Rule was established, it replaced the Danish flag as Greenland's primary symbol. So it got me thinking. I've done some videos not long ago talking about how red and white symbolise the underworld and things like this, and it's just blew me away because obviously this flag is red and white. And another folklore, mythlore, whatever you want to pronounce it, of this region talks about the underworld. And according to early texts, Inuit legend says that the earth is supported by pillars, which I've talked about because we're in a cave, and rests on top of an underworld, which can be reached through entrances in the sea or mountain clefts. Now, I've showed you in Enoch, he talks about going into the prison through a cleft. The cleft is that V-shaped that appears on NASA's logo. NASA traces its roots back to a cave, cavea, that I've showed you in past videos. How many more things do I need to show people? I'm onto something. Above the earth is an upper world, beyond the blue sky, which is thought to form a solid outer shell that might even revolve around a high mountain in the far north. The upper world represents a real land with mountains, valleys and lakes. This is an Inuit legend about Greenland. So it's talking about the things I've talked about for a very long time. Now, also in that video that they did about 4 or 5 weeks ago, The Other World it was called, I believe, I found out that Noah, because obviously Noah is tied to Janus, Noah Janus. Now you can say they're not the same one, who knows, but they share a lot of things that's very, very similar, let's say. Let me be politically correct. So I didn't know this. Inuit legends talk about how Noah's Ark drifted and got stuck in the ice in Hudson Bay. Now, I never heard that before. So if you can just quickly look at this map that I've showed you, there's Hudson Bay there. And this is maybe a little bit more accurate if going through Greenland is the shortest route, because they would have to be opposite each other, wouldn't they, to be a shortcut. So that just got me thinking. So Noah, according to the Cree or Inuit legends, gets stuck in Hudson Bay. He would have to go near Greenland. And again, Noah's colours are red and white. Well, not colours. He had red and white, red hair, white skin. That's what, according to the internet that I showed you in that video. So what ties this in, again, that I want to get to the main reason of why Greenland, is if you look at the unofficial flag of the Antarctica, and I'll put it in the top corner, you can just see the similarities between the flags, the duality, the two faces. Like there's two. I talked about in an old video how could it be like a hidden map showing you entrances to other lands or other worlds, or if we're in a cave to these underworlds or upper worlds. Now I'm going to show you a clip from an old video talking about these two maps and how I connected them to something before I finish with main reason why I created this video. So I'm going to put an old clip that I made several years ago, and it's from this image, Hermes Trismegistus, and I believe it's from the Rosicrucians, and as everyone knows, it's as above so below. Now people will talk about transformation, knowledge, gnosis and things like that in regard to this. There's so many, the interpretations are endless because obviously we see things differently. But through research and these videos that I've been doing on the cave and what people might know as Hollow Earth, I believe it's a roadmap of sorts, a map showing you the locations to get to the underworld, the other world, or whatever other realms in this cave system. And I mean huge worlds, not just little entranceways. These are like the huge doorways, and I'll show you why. Because obviously Janus is connected to things, because even in this image, how many faces, it's a reflection, the duality, the two faces. It's Janice, it's showing you Janice's key. Look at the red cross in the middle, the red cross, the 2 11s, the keys to the other worlds, but also, yes, the other world, the colours that they're using. You know, it's mind-blowing. And then obviously you got the Freemasonry symbols and the All Seeing Eye and different things like this. All these things are connected to Janice. I've showed you over the years. So this is what got me excited when we look at this. So now what I want you guys to do, because some of you might have not seen the old video, is think about Greenland's flag, and then think about the unadopted Antarctic flag. Both of these locations are key to Janice, and both of these locations, sounds funny then, both of these locations are hidden in this symbol. As above, so below. But let's finish that. As above, so below. As within, so without. So these things are telling me these locations are huge doorways, gateways to ancient civilizations, cultures, power, you name it. This is why they want Greenland and Antarctica. So here's that clip, guys. So you could even interpret Uberos as the ice wall if you want, but these is a hidden map. Here's the flag of Greenland, ghosted over, you can see, fits near enough inside. Then you add Antarctic's unofficial flag. You can see why I got excited, and you can see why I think this is a hidden meaning, showing you that these two locations have a huge Janice wow. Right guys, I've had a theory for several years. It's appeared in various videos of two locations, as I was referring to in that image, as above so below. One is in Greenland and one is in Antarctica. Now I've talked about Janice in this video, the reference to Trump and Gates. Everyone has talked about that on other channels, but these people will refuse to acknowledge me and this idea about these entranceways, because they don't want to give me credit for some reason. You know, I don't know what it is, but they refuse to talk about it. And this is like the gatekeeping of Janice. They don't want to show you how influential it is. People have told me how they've got banned from channels just mentioning my name and Janice when people are talking about things. It's like, why? Why do we do this to ourselves? So you're asking yourself, why Greenland? Why is it so strategic? And it's because of Janice. Think about it. If there's doorways, portals to this other world, this inner world, these underworlds, whatever is in this location or very near to it, because you've got Thule, talk about Thule, haven't you, about being a mysterious island cloaked in fog and different things, and it's like a cloaking device. And we've talked about other books like the Smoky God, that hopefully I'll get around to finishing, and it's in this location because of Janice. It's a doorway, it's a portal, that's why they've named it. So if you need to find it again, you'll get a map and you'll look for Janice Island, because it's a doorway, it's a gateway. And there's Greenland, and as you can see, I'll zoom in, there is Janice Island. Just zoom in for you so you can see Janice Island. And as you can see on Google Earth and different things, they'll all like to show you much things that's around it. So why name this location? Why are they fighting for this place? Why they want to get there? Because whoever controls the gate to these lands will basically have the power. So you have that in Greenland. And I mentioned Antarctic, didn't I, in my reference to as above, so below. What's there? So let's click on it. Janice Island, Antarctica. And you can see it's taking me straight there. There you go, guys. So two locations, one at the so-called north, one at the so-called south, is named after the god of doorways and portals. Why do not people with better brains, better way of thinking, talk about this? Because this has been out for several years. It's absolutely blew my mind for many years. People laugh when I talk about it because they know I get so passionate about it. So this Janice Island in Antarctica. And again, you can just see how doctored the images are and how they ghost things out. But what's funny, if you wanted to get to somewhere else, you name it Janice, a location like we just mentioned. But what is a doorway, gateway to somewhere else? It's like a shortcut, isn't it? Look what's been removed from the map. And I've showed this in other videos, and I'll click on it and it'll take you to there. Let me just get rid of that bit. It's so funny because they've like ghosted it out of the map even more. And it is called Shortcut Island. There you go. Shortcut next to a doorway. Come on. You know you want to say it. I might have been onto something. And again, this has been out for a long time. There's 2 locations, one at the north, one at the south, about doorways, and they've named it Janice. And one of them has an island called Shortcut Island. My mind's blown. So guys, you can see why these locations are so strategic to these powers, these L-ites as I call them. It's a mind blower, isn't it? So guys, thank you for watching the video. If you want to help me more, you can always buy me a coffee. The QR code is on the screen if you want, or it's in the description. And I appreciate you guys. Stay safe, always wear a smile, and don't let the Barstools grind us down. And hopefully you've enjoyed the video, Why Greenland. Hopefully I've showed you enough.